Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Happy Wednesday. Today I'm going to be doing the next two stages, which is stages 33 to 34 of the Hachette Partworks release and build the B.III Lancaster bomber. So we're going to be continuing with the engine in these two stages. I get my magazines from a newsagents because they come out before they do for subscribers, but there is a certain time of the month when the subscribers get two issues ahead of the people that buy them from the newsagents. Hence why I do both at the same time. Had some great ones today. Look, these hardback books. So this is the Definitive Guide to Air Combat. We've got the Spitfire, and this is number 1. I'll show you that in a second. And number 2 is the Messerschmitt BF 109. And if I just show you on the camera here, just how, did you hear that break? I love breaking a book spine. See what I mean? Look at the pictures and stuff in this. This is great. Absolutely brilliant. Now, I don't know how many of these we're getting. I'd like to see one for the Lancaster. But this is the first two. Are we going to get the rest of them? Hopefully, if someone knows, put it in the comments for me. And if they're not, where can I get them from? Because it is an absolutely brilliant collection. Now, talking about a good collection, if you want to get this for yourself, I understand this is now available in Australia. Check out the video description there. There's also a QR code on the screen, but I have got my close-up glasses here ready to go today because we're working on the engine. So without further ado, let's get cracking. So here you go. This is stage 33. And as you can see, these are all the parts we've got here, the props and some of the pipes here. So I'm going to be putting the prop together, putting the pipes along the side of the engine. So it's looking just like that. Now, they did make the engine simpler. Let me just show you what that's looking like at the moment, as you can see, by putting all of these parts in for us and these parts at the end in for us as well. But I haven't seen us having to put the little cables that we did last time in. I don't know if we're going to be doing that later. We'll have to see. But this is the rest of the magazine. Let's do this. So just opening this box, let's get all of these parts out. And once again, I've got this prop shaft that I'm going to be putting together. So this will be the second time that we've done that. Now, on this one, we've got a short indent on this side and a long indent in this side. So I want the short indent first. And into that, I'm going to put in this section here, which is going to hold the prop. Now, it is a D-shaped hole, so I need to make sure this goes on. And then it goes all the way down. So I am going to just give it a gentle tap with my hammer here, just to make sure that's in as far as I can get it. And then on top of that, we've got a bearing to put on. So the bearing's going to go over the top here. And it's going to need to go right down this shaft. Now, I'm finding it very hard to get it down that shaft, so I'm just going to put some oil around the shaft there. Get my duckbill pliers. I've got a funny feeling I did this the first time as well. And then just close them up so that I can get some bites just on either side of that, and then I'll tap that in. As you can see, that's going to go in no problems at all now. So let's just continue doing that. And there you go. You want that bearing all the way down there. It's going to take some banging with a hammer, but I've got mine in, as you can see there. Now, on the other side of this, I'm going to be taking the propeller reduction gear, which looks like that. And I want it on this way, so that the tabs are facing towards the end that's got nothing on at the moment. And butt that up tightly against the bearing, as you can see. All I'm going to do then is take the other side of this, and this is going to be going on this side here. So it's holding that nice and flush, as you can see there. But it's actually going to be held in with a screw. So I just want to leave it loose for a second and get an FP screw out ready. Going to bring over the engine here. Hopefully one of these can see it. We've got a hole just down the bottom there, which I'm going to be attaching this to. So the central shaft goes for the center of the engine, like this. It's going to fit in like that. And then I'm going to use this screw to tighten this up. Being very gentle not to be touching anything fragile here. But get that all the way in. The most important thing is to check that this prop can turn unhindered. It's looking good. Now, another thing I've just done So I put a little bit of grease in there. I had some grease left over from the E.T. build. I've just swamped the end of that into some grease as well, because you really do want that to be easy to turn, as you can see. Okay, just showing you on the top camera as well as how freely that can turn. Okay, I'm working on this side of the engine now, and I'm going to need this pipe. The center part of this pipe, as you can see, has got sort of like a junction box. I need to put the little tiny lug on there into the hole, which I'm going to have to point to on the top camera just there. So what I think I'm going to have to do is really zoom up my top camera there. Now I'm going to glue this in, but what I'm going to do is I'm just touching that lug there on my brush. So there's hardly any glue at all. I'm going to get this in. So there we go. That's that end in there, just like that. Now, again, it's impossible to pretty much show you this, but the shorter of the pipes I've got here is going on a pin, again on the top camera, which is just here. So I'm going to get that on there. Bit of glue. And that's one on. I don't know if you can see that. Let's do the other one. That goes actually just behind this section here. So what I'm going to do this time is put some glue just on the lug on this one here and get this into position. So I'll get this in and show you what this one looks like. Not going to lie to you, that is quite hard, especially the one that needs to go behind this section here. But I'll show you on the top camera. Hopefully you can see that. That's them both in. Okay, that was really hard. I've then got this pipe, which is going to hide the hole that we've got there. It's not asking me to glue this, but I am gluing this, because you just know these are the things that are going to come out. And the other end is just going to go, it's hard to see, there's a little tiny hole just underneath this section here. Again, I'm going to show you on the top camera. That's what that should look like when it's in. Okay. Now I've tucked the wire back here. It was sticking out a little bit here because I don't want that to impede with the prop there. So I have made sure when this goes up here and into there, I've tucked this wire against this wall just here. Now I still haven't plugged in this bottom wire here. I'm going to do that now. There's a little hole underneath for this to go in. So I'll just train that into that hole. And there you go. There's the bottom one in as well. So that is how the engine's currently looking. Now while I've got this upside down, I've got a little hole just here, or a little indent. Just going to drop some glue in for the last pipe to go in. That looks like this. Don't think I'm going to need my tweezers for this one. We will see. Make sure it's in the right way. I've just put that into place there with a bit of glue. And then the top of this section's going into the little hole that I've got on the top. Dab of glue there. Push this in. And there you go. That is how the engine is looking. Last thing to do is to take this sheath. I'm going to be putting this on the other end of the shaft here. It's D-shaped, so it can only go in one way. Just like that. That actually makes it easier for me to turn this now to make sure it's freely able to turn. Very fiddly stage, but that's all there is to do in that stage. So that's going to bring us to stage 34. And again, we've got lots of little tiny details here, which we're going to be putting together just like this. And then once we've got this all done, it's going to go onto the back of the engine here, putting the pipe on top. So the engine, I believe, is pretty much complete onto that stage. And you can tell that because in the next stage, we've got the surrounds coming and some details like we had last time. I'm guessing to make the next undercarriage. It's the second time this week that I've had to have the really close-up camera. But here we go. We're going to be doing this again. So I need a couple of things first. I need this piece here, which is going to be part of the carburetor unit, and the back section for that, which looks like this. Quite simply, just going to piece both of these together. They're not going to need glue. They should fit fine like that. So take the carburetor unit. It has got a shaped lug, so when I put this on, it's going to fit into this keyhole pattern, but that is quite tight. Anytime I get tight fitting parts, I do just put a little bit of oil on them, just so I can get these in. It takes some pushing, but you want to make sure that that's flush on there, like that. Turn it over, then on this side, I've got this part here, which has got 3 pegs on it. Need to make sure this is in the right way. And you know what way it needs to go, because there's a little cutout on the side. Let me just push that in. And make sure this is flush as well. Excellent. Because the cutout's going to match the cutout that we've got under there as well. Looking good. We're dealing with tiny parts now. I need part 34J, which has a little tab on the bottom here. So I'll put some glue on that one. And put this into the hole that I've just got here. So that's that in place. I've then got this larger section to put over the top, and we want it so that the pins are facing towards me and upwards. That's going to go onto the pegs that we've got here and here. So again, I'm going to put some glue just on these pegs. 1 and 2. Get that in. And again, make sure that that's flush in there. So now that's looking like that. And that's from the side. I could just put this tiny thing to one side and bring over this even smaller part that I've got here. Look at these tiny these are. Such detailed work. Now this has got 2 tabs on top, which I'm just putting glue on, as you can see. This is part of the supercharger here. Push this on to make a base for it, as you can see there. Now this one is going to go onto this side. Just tapping some glue in there. Very fiddly, but I'll put it in and show you how this looks. So it should look just like that. I'm going to put that to one side to dry, because I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side here. Some glue just on the tabs here. I mean, you've seen the first engine. I know there's quite a few people. Let me just get this in. There's quite a few people that are thinking, well, you hardly see any of these details, so they're not bothering to put them in, and I really don't blame you. But where we've got one on one side, I'm going to be putting this one in on the other side here. Very just weird shaped hole that they fit in, you see. As a matter of fact, I just realised I put them in the wrong way. So this one needs to go in this side. And this one over here needs to go in the other side. Lucky I noticed that before any of the glue had dried. And there you go. On the top camera, they're both in place, so they should look like that. So once we've done that, we've got one more bit to add on. That's this section here. Again, there's a little hole just here for this to go in. So again, I'm using my brush on glue, which does allow me to keep control of how much glue I'm putting on this. And I'll put this into place. Just like that. Okay. Now remember that shaft we had on the prop? I've taken that off because this is going to kind of go on. Let me just have a look at this. It's going to kind of go on like that. We've got a hole just at the top there for the prop to go through. And it's going to go on this way. It's going to take some manoeuvring. So I'm just going to hold it firmly without touching any delicate parts, just to see how this fits. Just like that. And then push that into place. Now to make things easier for me, I am going to glue this in, but I'm going to remove 2 of these pegs. And then put some glue on this, so that I can actually get this in exactly where it needs to go. As a matter of fact, I've cut all the pins off of that. I think it's going to be a lot easier to cut all the pins off, because if you don't, as you see, I've lost a couple of bits here, which I'm going to have to glue back on. So I'm just going to get that into place. That's in the perfect position. Make sure this turns okay, which it does. Excellent. Put all these bits back on. And it's ironic that these 2 little black things that popped off, which I thought was very convenient of them putting actually attached to this, we had to actually put these on in the first stage. Well, look, I'm going to have to do it again. Ah, there you go. They're back on. And that's how the engine is looking. So we're getting there. I'm just going to put that little sheath on the back again, just so I don't lose that. And again, just making sure it spins nice and freely in there, which it does. Okay. We've got one more pipe to put on. It's going to be going on the top here. There's 2 holes on this side, 2 holes on this side. So I'm going to get this in. It actually goes on the top this way round. Just like that. Hopefully you can see that on the top camera. And that is all there is to do in that stage. These engines really are fiddly, I have to say. They're not the easiest by far of any of the builds we've done. As a matter of fact, this is a pretty advanced thing to do because of how tiny it is. But that's all there is to do in that stage. And there you go. That's another 2 stages done. Look how tiny that is, but how detailed it is as well. Crazy stuff. You want to get this for yourself, once again, the link's in the video description. There's also a QR code on the screen. If you are struggling with the engines, I do feel your pain, trust me. They have made it slightly easier, but not a great deal easier, to be honest with you. But we got there. That's the second engine almost complete. But I really hope you like that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.